Good morning, everyone. This is Carl F. Rose recording from Bedford, Pennsylvania on Tuesday, November 15th, 2022. And here's the video that I was telling you about. And here's why the Lions, this is a good example, good explanation for why the Lions have more injuries than other teams. And I am actually requesting, I hope the NFLPA, the Players Association, gets this right. This comes down to cutting cost, and they're using cheap turf, them and other teams. I'll get to the other teams in a minute. But there are teams there that use better turf, and they have less injuries. Lions change their turf, and I guarantee you they won't have the injury problem. I mean, there's still going to be injuries. I mean, football is football. But the rate of these games were unacceptable. With the amount of injuries they had versus Seattle, versus Minnesota, even versus Washington, the game they won, and then against the Patriots, compared to the other teams, is just absolutely unacceptable. When they have 10 or so players injured and the other, on the sidelines, they're starters, and the other team only has maybe one or two, that's gonna give you a loss every time. And in the last 2 weeks, what have we noticed? The Lions have won 2 in a row. They're getting healthy again. And they go to the New York Giants, and I think they're going to be relatively healthy next week. So we'll see. They've got the confidence going, and we'll just have to see how it goes. And as I said on my other video, it's up to Dan Campbell now to be able to. He should be able to outcoach Brian Daboll, who is a rookie coach. The Giants are 7-2. And I think the Lions can pull out a steal here if they play their cards right. They just have to do what they have to do. Anyway, so here, get to nuts and bolts of it. NFLPA calls for immediate replacement and ban from slit firm turf fields. Now let's scroll down a little bit here. Blah, 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 there it is, blah, blah, blah. I'll tell you the teams. The league uses 3 types of turf. Slit firm, which is what the Lions use, dual fiber, and monofilament. But it's the slit firm surface that has proven players to miss more time due to injuries, which happen at an increased rate on it as well. Sorry, I can't read good today. Still tired. Blah, blah, blah. Advocating for safe working is a core job of our union, and there are few greater examples of this than the standards of fields we practice and play on, the NFLPA president said. Week after week, blah, blah, blah. Too often after a player suffers an injury. This week we've seen NFL PR machine go into overtime to spin a more favorable narrative. What the union and players know is a problem. If the NFL is serious about the claims they make database decision, that they care about their player safety, then we have some actionable items for them. 6 stadiums, here we go. This is the nuts and bolts of it. And 7 teams use slit firm turf, Treader wrote. And he's acknowledged that the slit film fields are more detrimental to players' health than other surfaces. However, he says the NFL has not only refused to mandate this change immediately, but they've also refused to commit to mandating a change away from slit film in the future at all, which is a problem. And if they're going to have a strike, I think the strike should be over this. I hate strikes, but I'm more concerned about player safety, and especially the way it's working against the Lions and the other teams, including the Minnesota Vikings. I'll get to that in a minute. The injuries are often completely avoidable. I'm going to repeat that. The injuries on slit film turf are completely avoidable. Both NFL and the NFLPA experts agree on the data, and yet the NFL will not protect players from a subpar perfect surface, and that's unacceptable. That is absolutely unacceptable. Treader also calls for the raising of field standards and testing the safety and performance of all surfaces, which I absolutely agree with. I usually don't agree with the unions in this sort of thing, but in this case, since it's player safety, and it just seems like there's an unfair balance between teams. Okay, until we have these standards in place, the NFL needs to be much more conservative when we have visible issues with the fields. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Okay, here it is. The field inspections do not account for performance and safety, so we should stop saying these fields are safe to play on based on the fact they passed said inspection. Okay. Adding the inspection standards are over 13 years old. And the Kelsey brothers, Travis and Jason, recently echoed the NFLPA statements. Good for you, players. More of you need to stand up, and I'd like to see some Lions players, even Vikings players, because I remember the game between Green Bay and Minnesota. It was in Minnesota a couple years ago. Aaron Rodgers was injured on a freak play. They tried to blame it on a late hit, which wasn't a late hit, but Rodgers was tweaked for the rest of the year. Not that I like Rodgers, but I don't want anybody getting hurt. It was the damn turf that did it. Take care of your players, man. It's so ridiculous. Okay. I'm quoting here from one of the players. I can only imagine if the game I had just played against Tennessee was on turf. Like, I barely walked out of that thing, and I knew it's magnified by 10 whenever I play on turf. Every single step in the fourth quarter, you feel it in the knees and in the joints and in the ankles. At least this is just for me. I hate playing on turf. I think it's silly. I couldn't agree more. Okay. Well, there were certain teams here. All right. Yeah. Okay. Okay, well, I don't subscribe to this, so, but there's like 6 teams. Minnesota is one of them. It's the Lions, the Vikings, I think the Bengals. I'm not sure, but you can dig more into this. But there's as it said, what was it? Let's go back to the beginning here. I can find it, but so yeah, 6 stadiums. Okay, so that would be the Giants and the Jets, because 7 teams, because the Giants and the Jets play on the same. So we got 6 stadiums, 7 teams. So you got the Giants, you got the Jets, you got the Lions, you got the Vikings. I believe the Bengals, and I think maybe Tennessee, and I'm not sure. I'm going to guess at Jacksonville. I'm not sure about that, but I'll